Hello and welcome to the Wilderness Podcast, episode 219. It's me, Heartless. I've got Deagin with me. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Back again, eh?
Yeah, dude, the back-to-back. I guess Dills is moving into his new house, so
yeah.
Once again, we're coming at you.
Yeah, we're here until I guess he's settled that ordeal, right? Because
exactly. I mean, at this point, as we're recording, Dills still has not released our first episode, so we've had zero feedback. But I'm sure people will like it.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, it was a long one. We covered pretty much a lot of topics, I would say, since you kind of came back to the game.
Yeah.
But as we're recording, it's the day after Bingo's been completed. So, how was your experience with Bingo?
Overall, it was pretty good. I had different expectations kind of going into it, but I'm like more than happy with how, at least like my Bingo. Well, actually, no, I didn't win, so I'm not more than happy. If I won, I'd be ecstatic. But overall, though, I was very happy with the whole event and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
That's awesome. What were your expectations going into it? I'm curious.
I kind of felt that it was a lot more like group heavy focus. You know what I mean? And like I didn't like, I don't know how the other teams were. We did some group content and stuff because the teams were so big, right? They were like teams of 17 or 18. So
they're huge.
I kind of figured that like, there's 15 of us and we're going to kind of, maybe one or two or no shows or, a couple people here and there busy. But I figured it would be like 15 people. We're all going to like coordinate and like, we'll do this and this and this. But it kind of turned into like, there was maybe 5 of us that were kind of coordinating constantly. And then 1 or 2 people kind of checking in, doing their own kind of thing. And so I assumed like the team itself, like every player would be more active but it was kind of like there was, maybe a third of the team that was like hyper active, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's kind of I don't really know that until you get into the Bingo too, and that's kind of how it tends to be. And the problem we have behind the scenes is like making teams. We used to have much smaller teams, like 5 or 6 players, when we only had very small entries, like maybe 25 people signed up. But the problem would be, like you said, a third of your team is active, and I would say that's pretty common for all of the teams when there's like 15 players.
Yeah.
But if you're doing like little teams, if a third of your team isn't active, you can just get so screwed.
Oh,
right?
I've heard Bingo horror stories of like teams of 5 and only 1 person active, and they're like pulling crazy hours because they're just hyper competitive and like, I got to do this. I'm the only one that will do it.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the huge team bingo. And I've played in so many other clan bingos where they do like, maybe they think 5 people is a lot. Like I've done 3-person ones and it just sucks because you feel like forced to keep up with people. Or if you're busy that week, you feel terrible for not being able to compete. And then you're 30% of your team's, fighting power. Where at least with this, the way we balance the teams is we try to put I try to put known players. Like I know these people love bingo and they're going to grind. So like you and Chick, me and Koss, whoever on each team. There's always like a couple leaders that I know are going to be like in the voice chat, enjoying bingo, and then maybe be able to rally the troops. And then there's people who like maybe they're working and they can only play a few hours a week, which is why we had those like AFK tiles on the board, so everyone can feel like they participate. But yeah, you're right, it can be tough when not everyone's participating fully. But that's kind of the beauty of bingo, is you can go as hard as you want and it's still like a nice team effort.
Yeah, it was fun though. Like made some new friends and we had some pretty good laughs playing. Like me and Chick one night, me and Chick and some of the other guys were doing the volcano tile. We had to get a unique.
Yeah,
and we're like, we'll do teams of, we'll go in a team of 4 and we'll like try and get the unique and whatever. And then like a couple days later, we went back, just like me and Chick, and we just started like, we brought Tell the Other and we were just kind of trolling around, like messing with like the random gold farmers that would kind of come in. And oh man, I was having such a good laugh at that. Just kind of
that's so good.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know, they try to like run or they try to go like mine something and you cast it and you see them stop for like 10 seconds trying to figure out what that is. And some of them like don't know what Telly Other is, and you'll see them accept it and they'll just teleport out mid mid kill. It's great.
It is hilarious when you pull it off. There's so many Venezuelans and gold farmers that farm volcanoes.
Yeah.
It's such good money. I remember Szechuan one, and one of the first bingos that we put. Volcano's a hard tile to do, man. It's so many hours.
Yeah, we put in some time, but we didn't get it, sadly.
Yeah, it's brutal. We got super lucky. Hoyt ripped it on like maybe 8 or 10 kc. It's crazy.
Dang,
the tool
okay.
seed. Yeah, super lucky. But yeah, Juan and I did it a while ago, and it was the same thing as you and Chick, just like Venezuelans left and right, and they were just dying all over the place.
Yeah.
I think they play like like multiple accounts, like 3-4 accounts at the same time. So their GP, and then Volcano's like relatively easy, so their GP per hour is like quite good.
Yeah,
at least that's what I've heard from Venezuelan friends.
Yeah, I mean, I was making decent money. Like after our sessions, I'm like, yo, did I actually just make like 3 mil, like messing around for like, are you serious?
Yeah, and they nerfed it as well. You see them be even better.
Yeah.
When it first came out. But yeah, this Volcano was fun. I think I never put it on the board because I was afraid of how long it takes. But I think if you have a team together, it's easier or something like the draw. I don't know how the drop rates work.
Yeah, I was told you can min-max it and have a 1 in 40 chance. So like if I think it's teams of 4 or something, you can give a 1 in 40.
Yeah, and it's a nice group tile as well. So
yeah,
I think it's here to stay for bingo.
Yeah.
We had problems in the past bingos as well of people completing boards like fully. We used to do a 5x5 is like an actual bingo board. So then we cranked it up to 6x6 to add way more tiles. And then hopefully people couldn't finish. And that's been like the reality in the last few bingos. Like no one's finished, which has been good.
Yeah.
So you can still grind for stuff later in the week. Yeah, my team got super lucky. We ended up winning. Like I think a lot of the teams had similar numbers of tiles, but because you got bonus points, you got 5 points for completing rows and 2 points per tile. If you had the right orientation, like if you got the corners and then you get lucky with some of the middle ones, you can complete a lot more rows and then get bonus points. So we ended up getting a shit ton of bonus points because we got spooned on like all of the corner tiles. And then the last day it came to a situation where the Abyssal Lantern from Guardians of the Rift was worth 17 points.
Dang,
if we got it.
Okay.
So we had 8 of us in chat all night on Thursday sending Guardians of the Rift, and it was really, really fun. Yeah, so and then someone ended up getting it late into the night, so it was great.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. You get to meet new people as well. There's a bunch of people that I'd never really talked to in voice chat, like Calvert and stuff.
It was pretty fun. It does rub salt in the wound because I know I'm a really competitive person. I'm a hyper competitive person, and I was like, oh, I might not be able to play that much this week, blah 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 blah. And then just the way like the things I had scheduled, everything kind of panned out. I had like a bunch of free time, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'm gonna go super hard. And if you look at the EHB for the week, like the efficient hours boss, you can tell I definitely got a little sweaty.
Yeah, you and Chick are always like Chick is always near the top, but you were also up there as well.
Yeah, I was like,
it was awesome.
Right behind first place, and they were an Iron Man too. And I didn't.
Is it right, you?
No, it was Wapdinger.
Oh, Wadpinger.
Yeah, Wapdinger. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he goes hard for sure.
Yeah, and I didn't know, like, I didn't realize that EHB is calculated like kind of different for like mains, right?
Yeah.
Like some of the bosses I was doing, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I know, like, I look at it, I'm like, what? How is this only like 0.8 of an hour? I've done like 3 hours of this, and I like go look it up, and it's like, to get the proper like efficient hour, you got to have like alt accounts doing shit for you at like certain bosses, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it can be pretty brutal at certain, like Corp, for example, efficient Iron Man, I think is 6.
Yeah.
But for mains, it's like 50.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Know?
Stuff like that. It's just, it's insane. But yeah, no, I was going super hard. I got really unlucky. Well, I should say unlucky, but I looked at a lot of the tiles and I did the math, and I was like looking at like my kill counts for all these bosses and what my drop rates were for all these. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually like really dry on these items, this item here, you know? So if I were to get them, I'm going to get them during bingo. So I could be in a position to like knock everything out in like a day, you know?
Yeah, the RNG bank that you have.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, right? Like I was like, you know, I'm I'm dry on a lantern. I'm dry on this. I'm dry on that. Like I've gotten one prim and like 2,800 KC of serve.
Oh, that's
You
so
know, I'm
bad.
like 700
Oh.
kill count Vorkath. Never seen a unique. Like all of this stuff. And my RNG kind of just was still pretty garbage.
It was. Didn't you end up getting the prim though?
So during the week, I did like 546 serb kills.
Oh God.
So you got to keep in mind, it's been a long time since I've played, right? And when I
Oh
used to
yeah.
play, there wasn't a collection log. So you open it up and it's completely empty.
Mhm.
But before then, I know I'd gotten one or two Pegasians, a couple Smolderings, a couple Eternals, and I'd gotten one Prim and a Jar of Souls.
Okay.
And during those like 500 kills, it pushed me over 3,000 kill count. And I got in the order of like, I got Pegasian, I got an Eternal, I got a Jar, I got a Smoldering, then I got my pet. And I was like super happy I got my Hell Puppy finally. And I literally I got everything on my collection log besides the prims. And eventually I ended up getting it like near the end of my last task that I was doing.
So you completed the log basically.
I
during bingo.
literally green logged during those 500 kills in bingo. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. And
that's really, really insane.
yeah. So like I got lucky, but also like unlucky at the same time.
Yeah. Were there any other tiles that you went for and managed to get an item?
I went for Zilyana. I went pretty hard on that. I think I was coming up on the RNG bank for the hilt. And I ran like 120. I did 120 kills. I think 110 were solo. And got the hilt, got 2 Sarah swords. I got God Sword Shard 2 from it. And then I ended up getting God Sword Shard 3 from Kriara. I got an Armadillo chest plate, but we already had that tile done for Kriara. Someone else had got an Arma piece before me. I went for Hydra, did like 200 kills there. The last day, we were doing raids in Vorkath because if we had gotten Vorkath, we would have completed a row and a column or whatever.
Yeah.
And it would have been worth fat points. So we had like 4 or 5 people running it. Yeah, we all were cranking out like so many kills. I did like 190.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was a really hard tile.
Yeah, we had like 5 people. We had one dude who hates Vorkath and doesn't need to do it on his Iron Man, but he was like literally just doing it for the team. And we're all like to the final minute, we're trying to get the Vorkath tile, and we didn't end up getting it.
Damn, that's tough.
Yeah. I did like a lot of random bosses. Lots of Kriara, Zilyana, Vorkath. Did like 15 raids.
No luck, hey?
No.
Did you guys get either of the raids?
No purples at raids. Dude, I am coming up on 36 chambers and no drop.
Without even seeing anything?
Yeah, it's 2.53 like total points, a million total points I've seen with no drop.
Man, that's tough.
Yeah.
The RNG bank sometimes is like that. When I got my twisted bow on my iron, it was I'd done like I think 6 arcanes in a row.
Yeah.
Just awful. But raids is like it can be pretty demotivating when you're like 80 drive, or 100 drive, like a personal purple as well.
Yeah.
But that's good. But yeah, one of the nice things about bingo is you kind of get to do content you've never done before. And that goes for like, imagine you weren't like, you're obviously a gamer, like you've done most of the content in the game. But a lot of people on the teams are like mid-level. So maybe they haven't tried raids or they haven't tried God Wars Dungeon. It gives you an opportunity to do those things.
Yeah. I mean, like at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun. I used to hate God Wars before bingo, but now it's become like I really enjoyed doing Zilyana and like Armadillo, like solo. Had a lot of fun with that. I don't know. I guess I just kind of like, I know the idea of killing armor with chins. I'll just go do it. And you'd kind of do it. And I'd get like, 10 or 15 kills in a trip. And you're like, okay, I'm gone. And then I like for bingo, it's like, okay, I really got to get sweaty and know how to, make the most of my trip. Right. And like actually learn the strategies. And it's like, now I'm pulling 30, 40 kill trips. This is awesome. And
yeah, it makes a huge difference when you're like going for items specifically.
Yeah, and having the next bank too. That's massive. being able
Oh
to just
yeah,
go in,
yeah,
swap out, and
yeah.
like
Do you want to explain that to people who don't know what it is?
there's like a new the newest, I guess, God Wars boss they put in is Nex, and there's like a little door. You have to do like a little thing where you have to kill each boss once to get like a piece of a key, and then you put the key together and open up a door. And then you enter the door, and there's like a new type of god, I guess, or whatever. It's the ancient, right? So you go in, you get your kill count as always, but the main thing is before the boss, you enter this like little lobby room, and there's an actual bank there. So the strategy is you get your kill count or your ecumenical key. You go do your God Wars boss like trip. Hopefully you can pull out like over 40 kills, so you can go back in if you want to. But you don't even have to leave the dungeon. You just exit, you go over to the door, enter, equip your ancient item, go kill a couple guys. They're worth like more points, right? So it's pretty quick, and then you go bank, and then you just run back and just straight to the boss. You don't have to farm a crap ton of keys if you want to go farm it for the day.
Those farming keys is like people's least favorite thing about God Wars, right? So.
Yeah, it's awful. And I died the first time ever doing ecumenical keys during bingo, and I had 4 keys on me, and some random dude and his maxed main buddy rolled up on me, and I just hear declaws going off, and I hear like all these spells, and I like look over, and I'm like, oh, all right, enjoy your 100K, buddy.
I've died for 4 keys as well. It hurts.
Yeah,
it very much hurts. That's the next banking is made Kriara a lot better.
Yep.
I had done all my KC before Next came out. I didn't hate it too much because getting keys is like wasn't the worst thing, but yeah, it's not fun like gearing up for the wildy and then getting ragged by PKers here and there.
Yeah,
it's definitely no good. I'm glad you got to enjoy some God Wars Dungeon.
Yeah, like overall it was really fun. So I don't know if you want to talk about like some strategies, but
yeah, sure. Yeah, get into it.
In the beginning, our team strategy was like we kind of just did whatever and just to see what kind of things we got on the board. And then also we kind of just would see, okay, who's going to play, and if they're playing, what are they going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of did that, and we had like, I got this Slayer task. I'll go do, Hydra or something, right? Like we all just kind of did our thing. And then eventually, like a couple days in, we started to like try to hammer out some tiles. And at some point, we're like, you know what? Let's go rock Zamorak, because at one point we just needed the single God Sword shard, like the first one. And then we needed the Staff of the Dead. So someone on our team came up with the strat of, they didn't invent it, but you just have 3 people, like Bofas and T-Bows and stuff like that. You get a group of people, and then you find like 3 worlds, and then you like literally rush a kill, and then you just keep world hopping over and over and over again.
Yep.
You bring like Blood Barrage and kind of just rush out the kill count like that. And we did that for a couple hours and ended up getting the stuff that we needed. We got like the staff, and then the second time we did like the next day we got the last shard. But yeah, we had like fun little stuff like that where we would just kind of hop between worlds and just kind of rush it.
Yeah, that's a really cool method, and one like you really only get to do during bingo, I would say, when like everyone just wants the one drop.
Exactly, yeah.
Have you ever tried solo Zami with a twisted bow?
So that was what my plan was. I had like 800 or 900 Slayer points, and I was cycling points for any God Wars task, right? AVNCs, Greater Demons, bosses.
Sure, yeah.
Anything I could go towards my bingo, and I used up all my points. Same with Cerberus. And trying to go for back-to-backs and stuff. And I didn't get a single Greater Demons, and like considering like doing the easy tasks like Suckwas and stuff that are just quick points, but yeah, I didn't get to do solo Zami. I wanted to learn it during bingo because I heard it's pretty fun, and it's a little different, right? You got to do like red clicks and stuff.
Yeah, it's honestly, I think it's one of my favorite activities in the game.
Yeah,
is doing that. It's very satisfying when you get it down because Zami's so huge and he hits so hard, but he just doesn't hit you.
Yeah,
so it's such an interesting method.
Yeah, it seemed really interesting. I didn't get a chance to learn it, but I kind of, now that I have like the Cerberus pet, I'll probably start doing more God Wars just to kind of, I want Kriara pet and I want the Krill.
Yeah, they're so cool. Eh?
Yeah.
So rare though.
Yeah, but yeah. I was gonna ask you though, what were your like spoils from bingo? Because you guys won, so you guys got like a fat pot. But besides that, like in terms of like loot and all that, and did you get anything for your account that you needed? Like what did you get?
Yeah, so for me, I've been dry for the Bryophyta's essence for a long time.
Yep.
So I in the week when things were kind of quieter in the mornings, I would just go for giant keys, mossy keys in the wilderness.
Yep.
I usually would get like 8 at a time, and then I would send the beginner clues and with the giants, the mossy keys. So I ended up doing like 90 KC for the week, and I got the Bryo essence on 232. My God, it's like almost
Nice.
double the rate
Yeah.
basically. What a shit grind that was overall. I would not suggest it. Yeah,
big
not a fun
grasp,
place
that's
to go
pretty
dry.
nice.
Yeah, it's basically just for the master clue stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty big fan of master clues, so having to drop that one was always painful.
Yeah.
So that was like my major spoils. And then for bingo, I usually go pretty hard as well, I would say. So I'll do content even if I've gotten all of the items.
Yep.
But our team got insanely lucky. Like we did Theater of Blood right away because we had a few toppers on our team, and we got a 2 KC rapier. So we almost immediately in the first night completed one of the hardest tiles, the Raid's weapon.
Yeah.
So then we're like, oh shit, well, like, what do we do now? So we sent some regular chambers. And then late that night, everyone had gone to sleep and I decided to do a solo and I pulled an arcane.
Dang.
So
Okay.
we, on like the first night, we had basically finished the 2 raids weapons with the 2 raids tiles, which was kind of bittersweet in a way because, yeah, we got 2 really hard tiles done, but raiding is one of the most fun things about bingo. So that was a little bit disappointing in a way that we finished them so early. But I mean, we moved on and we started doing like Volcano, and we had a few skillers on our team like Hoyt and stuff. So, you know, he's known as the mini game king because he's like super dry for for a blue book, we call it. Yeah, so I got the Bryo Essence. That was nice. And then our team spooned raids. So it was a little bit bittersweet, but overall it was nice to kind of get those hard tiles out of the way right away. And then, yeah, I kind of just did whatever the team needed. No significant upgrades for the account, but, you know, like pulled an armor seed and a couple other things. Maybe a clue unique. I can't remember exactly. The week was kind of a blur. I was just in the voice chat all the time, grinding whatever.
That's nice, though.
Whatever the team needed, essentially. Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. For me, I guess because I'm not an Iron Man, I'm not looking for like, you know, uniques and stuff for the collection log. Man, I made like a lot of money in like this week. I made like over 150 mil. Or I made
that's common too. Like if you're a higher level PVMer, you tend to make a lot of money.
And considering like, you know, cranking out a bunch of raids, I think I did like a couple Tobs, you know, like 15 or so Xerics and stuff like that. And then yeah, just all the bossing and stuff. It was pretty nice. Like I was able to buy like my Dragon Claws and my Imbued Heart and stuff like that. And by the end of it, I got 2 pets. I got the Hydra and the puppy.
Oh, you got a Hydra as well?
Yeah, I got spooned on the Hydra
man.
like 800 or 900 KC, something like that.
That's insane. Yeah, I think we had 16 pets this bingo for all the people involved.
Yeah, we got on my team. We got 2 hell puppies.
2?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, there was another. It was funny. There's another guy on our team that was in the same boat. He was at 2,500 kill count. Never seen primordials, and we're like, man, we're gonna crank out this tile so easy. And it's like, no, we had a couple people dedicated for like a day, like trying to get Cerberus tile done. But yeah, no, it was really good.
That's really cool. Didn't you guys also got a? Oh no, that was your team. You got the God of Thunder, got the Prince Black Dragon.
Yeah, you got that as well.
Yeah, man, your team got so many pets.
Yeah,
that's nuts. So yeah, I think overall bingo was fun. Were there any tiles that you would add next time as like a participant?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Or any maybe you disliked? That's something I always wanted. Like people messaging me about that. I'm always interested to hear like things that people would like to see.
The 2 tiles I disliked. One of them is because I hate the boss, so take that with a grain of salt. You know, take this with a grain of salt. But the Tourmaline Core, the Guardian boots, I sat down. I went and like bought a Blood Fury and everything to go do Guardians and like the Grotesque Guardians and like, okay, I'm gonna EHB this boss. Fuck yeah! I sit down. 20 minutes goes by or something, and I'm like, you know, or they have 15, 20 minutes, and I have like 9 kills or 10, and I'm like, I have the most efficient setup for this boss, and this is still so slow. I
It
hate, and
sucks.
I just like,
I
I'm like,
hate-
I'm sorry, guys, we're not getting this tile. I'm not doing it, and I just like skipped it. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I want to die. This is awful. I'm losing money, and this is gonna take me all day.
Yeah, that boss is
But I know other
awful.
people like it, so obviously the one tile I dislike, but I know why it's there was the dragon stone on the shamans. And I get it because
Yeah.
there's Iron Men that want to get the hammer, so they're going to grind the hammer, and you get the dragon stone. You're like, oh, cool, awesome, right? But that tile is super easy to fake. I don't think no one faked it, but like because I like looked at it, I was like, that is super easy to cheat, and like no one's gonna look twice at that. Like, am I really expected to change my threshold to like 8K and grind this out?
I mean the thing is people can find ways to cheat no matter what. You could stack up like 50 elite caskets and then just crack 10 a day and no one would be the wiser. You could have alts doing methods with you but like leave them out of the screenshot. There's lots of you could cheat in so many ways, and I find like our community usually isn't one to cheat, so I don't worry about people doctoring stuff. Like someone pinged me on the last day, they're like, hey, was this screenshot legal? Because he'd just gotten a pharaoh scepter and he was like holding it outside of the pharaoh thing, outside the pyramid. There's like no real way for me to tell because he'd already clicked through the message of when you got it and he picked it up off the ground. So I was like, well, I mean, why would he could be lying, but I mean, most likely he's not. So whatever, like go ahead. It's fine.
No,
There's only so much you can do as but I assume know what you mean. Like it could be easily doctored.
Yeah, well, like, and because of that, I just didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, everyone's
Fair
cheating.
enough.
It's like if I sit there,
You're worried people think you might
it's
be.
not even that. If I sit there and I do like 2,000 kills and I'm dry, one, will I be tempted? Like, probably not. But two, I'll be like, I could have just cheated. I could have just 0 time tile. I could have been like, hey guys,
Sure,
I'm
yeah,
totally
I
grinding.
guess
I'm totally
so.
grinding shamans while I'm like sitting there AFKing like a skill and like, oh, I got it on kill count 800. Hell yeah! Like, you know what I mean?
You just gotta change that attitude there.
But like, it's just like I would feel super annoyed, and maybe I would be like going through all the channels who cheated on this one because I sat here for 3-4 days trying to get this. Like, I just looked at it and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be happy or like feel good about getting that tile done. So I'm just going to ignore it because like that one's just going to annoy me unless I got spooned on like the first one, but then people might think I'm cheating. Like it's just like, you know what? There's so many other tiles that like I'm going to work on and I'm going to have fun doing. So I'll do that.
Yeah, it's 2 people got Dragon Warhammers this bingo. So that's kind of why it was there, so that some people could try shamans, get spooned. It's a nice way to like shoehorn content in. That's another thing. Like you can't. Some things just don't have reasonable uniques at all, so you just can't force the content into the bingos in any way, shape, or form. So someone actually made a great suggestion to me about getting a rare fossil from Herbivore, which is like maybe a 10-hour grind to get one. Because you know how you like pull fossils when you like.
Yeah, I did not know that was a 10-hour grind.
Whatever.
Okay.
Apparently, it's like 10-ish hours or something according to the rates. So that's like 1 week. That's like a way to like it's not an exciting drop, but it's a way to shoehorn in an RNG element to a skilling boss. So I think Herbivore will make an appearance next time because that's a pretty cool thing that people might not do unless they're in bingo.
I will say I definitely learned that this bingo was I mean, you put in the hours, that's fine, but man, it's all RNG at the end of the day. So it's like,
yeah, that's totally it, right? It's just like playing Iron Man mode. Like it's just RNG, the whole thing, which I think adds to the excitement levels. But and the fact that there's 36 tiles, like you can't go dry on all of them. You know what I mean? Like more than likely, you're gonna get lucky at more. You're more likely to get lucky than you are to go dry if you grind a lot of things. So
yeah, and like ideally, there's other people doing it, right? So it's like, oh, if we like, we have 3 or 4 people doing Cerberus, I have like however many kills I said I had, and then everyone else had like 200 or 300 kills or something, right? It's like everyone's chipping at it. Someone's gonna get quote unquote lucky. Yeah, it's really like a numbers game.
Yeah, I mean, I remember one bingo. We'd done like 800 Zulrah KC, and we were trying to get either of the Fangs, so we're like triple raid as a team, and I hadn't done any Zulrah. and I just go in 1 KC, get a tens night ping. Yeah, and everyone was just super excited that we finished the tile, you know. So it was kind of like a collective effort rather than just your individual efforts. But I know it probably sucks when you like grind all week and you don't get anything done for your team. But I mean, like the fact that you're in there grinding just motivates everyone else to have a fun time.
I mean, I was up one night because I was like saying to the team, like, I'm gonna get the goddamn prims. Like that's my goal. I don't care. That's all I'm gonna like. I want to get those prims for us. We put in so much time as a team. You know, that's my goal. And it was like pretty late one night, and like when I got that drop, dude, I was more excited for the drop than when I got my pet. Even though that's the one pet I really wanted. Like, dude, I was ecstatic for like 20 minutes. I'm like, oh man,
yeah,
all these guys are asleep right now. Like, I was like, they had all just gone to bed, and I'm like, they're gonna wake up and they're gonna see this prim drop, and they're all gonna be super hyped, and it's like, you know, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's like the Iron Man sensation of when you get like a big upgrade on your account. That feeling. So that's bingo kind of captures that in a way. But yeah, I'm glad you had a good time. I am looking for other suggestions too. Like there's a group of people that help me make the board, and we always like poll people. One that I tend to stay away from is like get 1 million fishing XP, because that's something that every team can pretty easily do, and it kind of just feels like a chore.
Yeah.
So we tend to keep them like RNG based. So we put content in, you know, like Ferroceptor, whatever, like the tome, so that people can skill. Thankfully, like rune crafting is a lot better now. So Abyssal Lantern was a good one. Everyone was going for.
I will say, like, little side story. We were just about to agree to like, okay, you know what? We'll grind Zulrah. If we get really lucky on it, you know, we'll all go to Rune Dragons and get the dragon limbs. And there's like 4 of us in the Discord chatting. It's like, is it really a good idea to do the Rune Dragons? It's such a bad drop, and like that's gonna fuck us on RNG, even though we all got stuck on Vorkath. But we're sitting there like discussing like our strategy, and one of the boys just posts a picture, and he's like, got the dragon limbs. We look at his kill count, his loot thing, and he had done 4 kills or something. He was like like a level 110 or something. He's like, I'm bored. I'm gonna go kill some Rune Dragons, and then boom, gets D-limbs, and we're like, no way. Like if we get this, we might actually win. If we get Vorkath, like, you know, we have a chance to win. And then turns out we didn't get it, and you guys just crushed it. You guys like did a really good job.
Yeah, we got very, very lucky with like how we completed pros. Being spooned 2 of the corners fairly early made the tactics a little easier. Like we could just ignore certain rows. Yeah. So we didn't even bother going for a wilderness ring. We didn't even bother with Sarah very, very much, stuff like that. Like huge time sinks we could just kind of ignore.
Yeah, I think,
which was rather helpful.
Yeah, I think if we were to do it again, I would try to convince everyone to like, you know, try and get the weapon or try and get lanterns and just go for corners first, because that's a really good idea. But we did get really unlucky on the lantern though. I don't know how many. I only did like 100 searches or something, maybe 120 throughout bingo. But I'm also dry on the lantern. But we had a couple people like grinding guardians and just got nothing, and like we were all so demotivated that like one dude was like, you know what? I'll keep trying. You guys ignore this tile. Like you guys are. Let's.
Did you end up getting
never got it?
Yeah, that's tough.
But
yeah, we didn't get lucky on that one. We actually went about twice the rate. I think we did like 1,400 pulls as a team.
Now, did you do the free for all? Or did you guys group together?
We did free for alls for a while because people were drinking. And then we started doing groups and smaller groups and grinding that way too. But yeah, that one night, Thursday night, we were all in there just sending Guardians of the Rift, like every person, because it was just so much more valuable than any other tile. And it was good. People were like, "Oh, this is great for my rune crafting level." People were gaining like 10 levels. Sick. Yeah, it was fun, and overall, I think everyone like enjoyed Guardians of the Rift. So, I think Abyssal Lantern is probably gonna stay for the next window.
That's a good idea. When I first looked at the teams, I was very like, "Oh, this seems a little unbalanced," because like I've never done a bingo before, right? So I have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's all gut knee-jerk reaction. Like I'm like, oh man, that's kind of whatever. But then you realize that like, you know, there's so many tiles that like people can like if it's like, oh man, these guys are like a lower combat, we can't really do group content with like there's 4 people on our team that can actually raid, this is gonna suck. But there's just so much content that everyone can do and is more than willing to do it because they know they can't do the raids.
Yeah, there were like 4 high level content tiles on the board, right? Out of what, 36?
Yeah. So like when it came to like the like doing raids and stuff, it was kind of trickier for our team to like get together and to kind of efficiently crank them out because we like one didn't really have like the number of people that were like able to do them, and then 2, having all of us online at the same time was a bit tricky, even with like 2 of us kind of just living on RuneScape for a week.
Fair enough.
But like, I don't know, it was super fun, and like, I don't know, I'm super happy with my team. I hope there isn't anyone that like see, because you're part of like, you set it up, so you probably were able to see like how all the teams were doing in terms of like participation and all that.
Yeah, I could see all the voice chats and I could see all the channels, but I didn't look at the channels because I didn't want to ruin it for myself. But yeah, I could see the voice chats, and I would say some teams, my team is obviously always in there, but I feel like that's skewed because I'm always in voice chat. And if someone's in voice chat, they tend to attract people. And your team was in voice chat, and team 1 was in voice chat, and then the other ones were like, they were definitely there, especially opening weekend. But then they kind of slowed down.
So I was wondering if there was one team that like just wasn't active at like like at all, really, because I would feel super bad if there was a team that was like, once a day someone's posting something, like, people are kind of just playing.
That's happened in the past in bingos, and it's funny you mentioned like, oh, I thought my team was weak or whatever. We've had it in the past where instead of doing it by, I've just basically decided, okay, these are the best players, like actual skill level is the highest, but it doesn't mean they play a lot. I just might be the highest skill level player in our clan. So that therefore that person is the most valuable player in bingo, and that's just actively not true. You could have someone, like you said, level 110 who puts in like, who's grinding, like has the week off, grinds 10 hours a day, does all the medium level tiles and ends up pulling like 6 or 7 tiles for your team. Like that's fully viable. Someone like Hoyt, who's on my team, he's an Iron Man. He's like level 105. He just loves skilling. He banged out like 6 tiles for our team or something. He can't do theater. He doesn't know how to raid, et cetera, et cetera. But he's a very valuable player because of how much time he puts in and the content he likes to do.
Yeah. Like,
so he could be even more valuable than someone who's like an expert ToA person, but all they really like to do is raid. So once they're kind of done raids, if your team finishes those tiles, maybe they don't really like participating in bingo anymore. So yeah, there's a lot more that goes into it. I kind of look at like EHB, HP, basically how much people are going to play, because that's like the main factor and how hard committed you're going to be. But it's never a perfect science. But I think this time we did pretty good at getting the teams balanced. Yeah, and then I like put in so people can request a friend, so at least you'll have someone you'll be able to play with. And I try to honor that as much as possible. But anyways, that's a little insight into bingo. We had a nice little 40-minute discussion about it, hey? Did you get up to anything else besides bingo in the last week, or not really?
Well, I have a lot of stuff going on in my real life, in terms of like going and getting ready for school and stuff, but it was just kind of real life stuff and then just bingo. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'm going to be getting ready for my real life soon. Obviously, next week we're going to talk about Raids 3 a bit, but Raids 3 is dropping on the 24th. It's a 13th right now. But I have a new classroom for next year. I'm a teacher. Most people know that. Happy to share what I do. And I've done it this is my third or fourth year. And I have my own classroom now, but it's just empty. So I have to go in and get everything set up myself.
Oh, like in terms of like desks and like materials and stuff?
Well, there'll be desks there, and there'll be like a projector and a computer and like basic things. Maybe a carpet and chairs and stuff, but like all the decorations on the wall, all of the like display boards,
the alphabet, the Roman numerals,
because I'm teaching 2-3 splits, so there'll be like toys and games in the class, and I have to like provide those things myself.
Damn,
basically.
okay.
There's some it's kind of brutal. There's some small budgets, but I mean, I don't have a ton of money to spend, so I was like down at Walmart, like picking up a bunch of games the other day. It's like Twister, Connect 4, like classics.
Yep.
the kids might like. Yeah, so that's kind of going to be the end of my month is setting up the classroom. And some of the teachers are just so creative and like artsy, and I'm just totally not. Like, art is my least favorite subject, man. It stresses me out more than math, more than science. Like, I love teaching all the subjects, but art just makes me so stressed because I've never been a good artist. And I always used to get shit on for being such a bad artist in school. You know what I mean? Like, when it got to high school and you got to choose, I just avoided it. Even though it can be really nice if you have like a supportive person showing you. Thankfully, like low end, like, you know, like grade 1, 2 art is not actually that complicated, and they all think I'm just the best artist, even though I'm just terrible. It's so funny. Yeah, so that's kind of a tricky part of school for me, is like the artsy side. So I'm gonna get my girlfriend to help me with like making some displays and stuff. So hopefully that goes
that's
okay.
pretty cool.
Yeah, but man, like I usually do art on Fridays because it's nice to set up my schedule to be super, super low key Fridays, like gym and art. But man, it just stresses me out coming off with projects all the time.
So for like a weekly or like a daily schedule for classes, like you're the one actually scheduling it?
Yeah, so the way it works is I'll get my prep blocks where I don't have to teach my class. So at the school I'm at right now, it's music is at every school.
Yep.
So I'll have 2 blocks of music, and then a third block. It depends on the school. Some schools do drama, but the school I'm at has like a huge garden. So there's a gardening prep, which is actually, I think, so cool.
That's pretty neat, yeah.
Yeah, so they like grow all sorts of like plants, vegetables, and they're like taught. The music teacher teaches it.
Okay.
So he does like a little gardening and a little music. So he teaches gardening, and he'll teach them like all sorts of techniques. So like, because I feel like that's something you just don't really learn, like how to grow vegetables. It's more like a hobby.
Yeah, it's usually that stuff's passed down to like your family, right? Like I know a bit of gardening, but that's just because like I had people in my family were like, you know, green thumbs, and I'd watch them and all that. I remember in like 3rd grade we started growing like lemon trees or something. Granted, like, you know, it's never gonna fully bloom into an actual tree. Like they're just gonna stay like little.
Yeah, but it's still like a really cool way to like connect with like the land and science and stuff. So
yeah.
I think it's so awesome. So anyways, I chose that as my 3rd prep. So basically I'll have those 3 things filled in, and it'll be like lunch, recess every day. And then I just fill in the rest of it however I want.
Damn, that's sick. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought the curriculum was like way more restrictive. Like, oh, this you got to teach, you know, English after math or something, you know?
No. You do whatever the fuck you want, but you quickly learn that certain things should go at certain times of the day. Okay. So, I used to have grade 4 class, and it depends on the school schedule because sometimes people have late bells. So you might eat lunch from like 12 to 1 is like lunch and recess. And then the school might end at 2:30. So you only have an hour and a half in the afternoon. And afternoons, I find like kids are pretty done with school by that time. So afternoons, I tend to put like more hands-on stuff like science or, you know, maybe some social studies, PE, things like that tend to go in the afternoons.
Okay.
Art, whatever, things where you can like kind of disengage. It's not too academic. There's not much reading. And then like in the daytime, like maybe after recess when they've had a good run and they're kind of tired and have some food in them and they're awake, they're like the best time to do math because then they're like fully on at like 10 o'clock. So that's what I tend to. So you can kind of tend to like figure out based on your group of kids, like when things should go where.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have the DPVA stuff like system at your school, the daily physical vigorous activity thing?
I call it DPA, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
That
DPA.
depends on the teacher. It depends on the school too. Every school is different. Like one school I was at used to do DPA every morning. Like it would be like a school run for 20 minutes.
Yep.
Which was sweet. So then they'd all be super tired. You could get them into whatever. And when it was cold, one of the teachers would do like Zumba in the gym. Which was sick. But what I ended up doing is I always do just like an afternoon recess, but I call it DPA.
Okay.
And then sometimes I've done like running club too, where I have like these, you know, like a hole puncher. And I'll like, okay, so 20 minutes. If there's like a really long morning, like sometimes, dude, like the new school I'm at, it's 8:30 is the start time. And then 10:20 is lunch. So that's like almost 2 hours. You can't do like 3 back-to-back learning blocks.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to figure out how to like split the time. You can't just do things for like a really long time, or else kids are gonna either get bored or they like won't be into it anymore.
Start acting up or something.
Yeah, and like I have ADHD too, so I like totally know how it feels to be restless. So I tend to build my schedule around that. So yeah, I'll probably do like DPA in the morning, and then sometimes in the afternoon as well.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll just go on the playground in the afternoon or like play soccer or whatever. In the morning, it might be like I used to do running clubs, so they'd get like a hole punch, and when they get to like I don't know 50 or 100 punches, they can get like a pencil or something, some tiny prize.
Okay, because I remember being a kid. You get off the bus, you'd set up everything, you'd get into class, then you'd go and you'd jog for like 20 or whatever minutes.
So your school probably had a program.
And then after lunch, and I loved this because like I also have ADHD, but I liked it where you'd have your lunch recess, but then you'd sit down and the teacher would like kind of dim all the lights, and it was like drop everything and read, and then you'd read for 30 minutes.
Yep, and every single time.
You're like super like kind of tired from like playing football or something all recess, and then you're like, okay. Then you have your book that you're reading, and then like, you just chill for 30 minutes. And then you just go into your like regular programming stuff.
Yeah, that's very common too. Like when I was learning, I noticed I got a bunch of, you could see everyone's schedules. Like you can ask other teachers or just look in their class and see what they do. Basically guaranteed, I'd say 80% of teachers or so do reading to silent reading after lunch.
Yeah, it makes sense though. Like just quiet these kids
down.
It's
also nice. It's nice for you too, because like sometimes you're working at on your lunch hour or near the end of it. Like I'll eat my lunch for half and then I'll go and like photocopy some shit for the afternoon or get some art supplies ready. And you don't like quite have enough time to finish everything. So you get them in and they can settle into reading, and then you can like finish up a couple tasks while they're doing that.
True. Okay.
Or like go to the bathroom if you need to. Like there's a bunch of options. So that's another reason why I really like that time. Yeah. Scheduling is kind of fun though. I don't know. I'm gonna have to start figuring that out soon. I still haven't got my preps or anything. But the school I'm at has like a super long morning. They start really early, and the lunch is or the recess is late. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to deal with that.
Yeah, how are you gonna reach these kids?
Yeah. Honestly, thankfully, I have ADHD, so I know what it's like.
Yeah, you can empathize with them.
I get empathy, and I myself can feel restless if I don't do stuff. So I always end up like playing tag or whatever, or like sometimes running with the children.
Yeah,
just to get it out. It's like the best part of the job is you never start moving, never stop moving.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna be the next few weeks. So RuneScape might slow down for a bit, but not for Raids 3.
Yeah,
super excited.
Yeah, do you want to get into Raids 3 for a little bit? Talk about it? They did the cinematic reveal, like the little trailer. They showed like, the armor came out, the finished, was it Missouri armor?
Yeah. The Missouri armor came out. Yeah, we should get Dills to do his little jingle. What does he do when he transitions? I can't remember. Now let's talk about the news. That's what he always says.
Yeah.
So anyways, Dills, here you go. Put it in now. Let's talk about the news.
Yeah, so you've seen the little trailer?
Yeah. Do you want to explain it to people who may have not seen it?
It's like a little voiceover. They have some like voice acting, I guess, of a mascot. I'm assuming that's her. And I don't know, just kind of. Maybe you want to give the rundown.
Okay, sure.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it shows like every room, like a 2-second clip of it.
Yeah.
So like players walking into the room, and then like one or two of the mechanics in each room. And we'll talk about it after, but also it shows what gear the players are wearing, and that's caused some economic spikes, you might say.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny. So each room looks it's super quick. You kind of have to like slow it down to get some of the mechanics. But like for example, one of them, the crocodile room. Do you remember the waves from Galvec? And
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, it had the Galvec waves.
So there are these waves where basically only on one tile that you'll get insta killed, and that might not be the case in the raid. Maybe you get washed out of the room or something. But if you're not staying on this one tile and you don't run through the wave, you die. So it looked like there were multiple waves coming through while you're fighting the boss. And there's also like other shit going on. It looks insane. There's so many mechanics.
Yeah. Now, like,
Um,
granted, because there is a scaling difficulty with like the keystones or whatever they're called, invocations. Is it invocations?
yeah,
Yeah, it's
invocations.
like a linear type of a difficulty system, and they're saying what like the with nothing enabled, it's like as easy or easier than Chambers of Xerix, right?
Easier than entry mode top,
Oh,
yeah.
easier than entry mode top, and then at its max, it's like some of the hardest stuff, right?
It'll be like essentially impossible with 34.
Yeah. And so we, maybe those waves are part of the invocations where there's like a 20, maybe on like the entry mode, there's one that comes every 30 seconds. It's
Sure,
not.
yeah, that could be part of it, right?
So like, yeah, if you're hearing about this stuff, like don't be discouraged because like it will like
Scale.
it's gonna scale and like it seems like yeah, the scale like the range of difficulty, a lot of people can do it. Granted, the rewards kind of scale with difficulties. Like at the easiest, you're not eligible for a lot of the rewards and stuff, right?
All right, you just heard the Raids 3 Tombs of Amascut teaser that came out on Discord. I saw it circulating Twitter a bunch, showing some of the room's mechanics and some play testers going through it. What did you think of it, Deegan?
Pretty good. Like I'm a little excited to see like what kind of mechanics are gonna be busting out with the teasers. It kind of shows that they're a lot more open to new ideas, and they're kind of building on what they've like done with raids 2 and 3 or 1 and 2. Sorry.
Yeah, were there any like mechanics that you saw in the video that like jumped out at you?
I guess the Galvic wave was like the big one, right? The wave of water that kind of
Yeah,
comes
it was
by.
crazy. There were more than one wave too. There were multiple waves, which was insane.
Yeah.
So for those of you who haven't done Galvic, basically sends this wall of water at you, and you get insta killed if you don't run through the one section. And in this teaser video, it looked like there were like 2-3 waves rolling across the battlefield, and you'd have to run different sections while fighting the boss. Insane. Yeah, that one jumped out to me as well.
Yeah. What do you think about like the new weapon and all that? The new staff?
I think it's going to be just ridiculously powerful, like Tebow level powerful, especially in this raid. Like everyone's going to want it. It's going to be at least a bill. It just looks so good. I think it looks awesome too. Can't wait to use one.
Yeah, I do like how they like added in like a two-handed staff.
Yeah, and they slowed it down too, so it's going to change up the metas a little bit. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to use it. I think overall, like the video looks pretty cool. There's another mechanic where it looks like you're all in this room and you get split up by a wall that like separates the party. I thought that was fairly interesting. So maybe there's going to be something like that going on. There was also seemed to be like everyone's wearing serp helms in the picture, and I kind of assume like it's a desert themed raid. There's lots of poison in the desert, scarabs, etc.
Yeah,
right?
usually. Yeah,
so you figure there's going to be a fair bit of poison. So yeah, everyone was wearing a serp. But that being said, you can't put too much faith in what's going on in these videos because they've released them for, was it Nightmare of Ashihama as well? And
yeah, and they had
yeah,
people T-bowing it and
has
stuff.
600 range defense. And Zalver too, a guy like running around meleeing it. So you can't put too much faith in them, at least as far as the gear goes. But I do think the serp will be a good bet for day one.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully I already got mine, but I heard that the prices were jumping up pretty hard since.
Yeah, they like doubled.
Yeah.
So that might be a good investment, but who knows, really? You may as well just wait until the raid comes out at this point if you're not sure. Because I do think it's going to be viable with like pretty basic gear. You're not going to need the best of the best to get it done. And they've mentioned that before too, right? Like it does scale quite well.
Yeah. I don't know if it's been talked about, but we can go over it quickly if you want. Like the difficulty scaling, because I like the approach that they've taken on it. They have a system called like invocations, and essentially with no invocations, like baseline, the easiest the raid will be like as easy or easier than Theater of Blood on easy. And then the hardest, I mean, it seems like it's going to be like it scales up to pretty much impossible, right?
Yeah, essentially. And as far as we know, I think there are 34 invocations.
Yeah. There was
seems to be
They had a teaser developer diary video come out today.
Yeah.
And with that, there was what, like 6 or 7 invocations that got like kind of leaked through that.
Yeah, they spoiled a few of them.
Yeah. Which is
Do you remember any of them that you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I got the list right here if you want to hear them.
Sure. Yeah, go through it.
So the first one I'll talk about it's try again. So it limits the overall number of attempts that can be made within the raid to 10. An attempt is failed if every member of the party dies during a challenge, and it increases the raid level by 5. So it starts off at raid levels 0, and then it goes. Does it go up to 150? I don't know. I might be getting that confused. But
I think 150 is like the next.
Oh, next tier.
Next tier, yeah.
I'm not too sure.
And then 300 plus is hard. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah. There's tiers to it. So it's kind of cool that it sounds like in the beginning it might be something like Chambers of Xeric, so you'll have a crap ton of attempts or infinite attempts to get through the rooms. But you can add these invocations to make it a lot less forgiving, right? You can, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool. Yeah, it's nice that they're doing this.
Yeah, because I don't really like how Chambers is like you can kind of just sit there for 4 hours and do it, which literally that was my first solo. I sat there for like 3 hours trying to figure out, and I had the worst raid. I had like Tecton, Vespula, Vast. I had like everything that you didn't want. But anyways, so the next one is essentially the same thing, but it's called Hardcore Run, and it limits the attempts to 1. So now you guys wipe, it's over. And that increases the raid level by 25. We have...
Okay, so each one is going to be increasing by different points. So they're not all just worth the same amount of points.
Yeah. So we have ones that go above 25 as well in this list. The next one is it's called Walk for It. So it sets a time limit to 40 minutes. And if the time is achieved, the raid level is increased. If not, the raid level gets decreased. So if you achieve it, your raid level goes up by 10. And if you fail the time, you'll actually lose a raid level. Yeah.
Interesting.
They have the same thing, but for a 35-minute time limit and a 25, and they go up 15 and 25 respectively. So it's pretty cool to see that they're implementing like some of the speedrun concepts like past just challenge mode, where it seemed like challenge mode.
Those were kind of safe bets, right?
Yeah.
These are thinking about invocations.
Yeah. And depending on the other invocations and stuff, like I don't know if 25 minutes is going to be like a crazy time where people are going to want to bring like purple sweets and stuff to achieve that.
They tend to make their times like reasonable. Even the Grandmaster times on things, like they're hard, but they're not like close to world records.
Yeah.
So I'm sure once they may even adjust the invocations. I'm almost certain they will.
Yeah, they'll
adjust them or add new ones.
Yeah, they're gonna have to probably. There's like with as many that they're adding, there's gonna be like a lot of random little issues, right?
Yeah, and I have a feeling there's going to be some that are just free. You know, like as soon as you even have the raid somewhat down, like some of the like maybe 40 minutes is just a joke.
Yeah,
or like 10 attempts to get through rooms once you understand the mechanics will be really easy.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah, so looking forward to that. They also released a few on Twitter. Like one of them was like Slayer helms that don't work for like monkey tasks. What else was it?
That's cool.
Dung beetles and scarabites. So it looks like we're going to be able to access some new Slayer tasks too.
Cool. I like that. Because I know with Chambers, you know, you'll get like a skeleton or like a lizardman shaman, and then you'll just go run the raid with a Slayer helm, save some spots, and you know, have easier rooms.
Yeah. Exactly. But I like that, and I also don't like it because it makes you skip for certain tasks if you want to raid, and then doesn't let you do Slayer.
I mean, I've never done it.
Neither have I. So this is one that seems almost free. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, we don't have a task. We're just going to turn this one on.
Yep.
But maybe it's only worth 5 points. So who knows?
Yeah.
It really depends on how.
Especially the thresholds to get the items, right? Like it could be maybe 150 is the threshold for one item. So it's like, you know, to get an item, you're going to actually only want to have one attempt, you know, one life essentially for your team, or like a 35-minute time limit. But
as far as I've heard from the way it works is on like a no invocation raid, you can get anything, but it's going to be like extremely rare to get the best items. So it won't really be, it'll be like, you know, corrupted gauntlet versus regular gauntlet.
Yep.
Like if you want an enhanced weapon seed, no one in their right mind is going to grind a regular gauntlet.
Yeah.
Because it takes 5 times as long. You're just going to put in the work to learn the new one. And then maybe once in a while you get like a meme drop. So I think that's probably what's going to happen with this system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mind you, even if like I would do that for Theater of Blood. Like if it was super easy and you could just run through it, but the drop rates were lower, I would still do it just to be able to solo.
Yeah, get a chance like a solo scythe or something.
Yeah, just because like sometimes timing doesn't work out on like getting like if you have 2 hours to play,
Yep.
and you're like, oh, okay, I'm logging in. I'd like to do 2 hours worth of ToB. It's not really always possible because you got to find a team.
Yeah.
Or like I'd like to do 2 hours worth. But if you want to do 2 hours worth of Corrupted Gauntlet, you can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Because
sometimes I'll get on. It's like, oh, I got 30, 40, 50 minutes. I don't really want to grab a team for like Chambers. I'll just go do a solo.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what's gonna happen with Race 3.
Yeah. So the two other invocations are pretty much the same, but the first one is need some help, and it's the quantity of items offered by the helpful spirits reduced by 66%. Increases the raid level by 15, and then the last one is no help needed, and they don't offer any items, and it increases the raid level by 40. So
interesting. So maybe they drop like certain items to help with the rooms.
Yeah, it's really vague. So the helpful spirit could be like the Theater of Blood chest, right?
Yeah.
Where like you can you have, instead of like with points, maybe it's like there's just this like there's like this many brews, restorers, and sharks and stuff that your team has to divide amongst everyone.
Yeah.
And then, or it could be something like Chambers where like they have like scav beasts or something.
Yeah, that's one of the things where like I think that's super interesting. For those of you who haven't done Theater of Blood, there's basically a chest and there's a point system. So if you don't die, you'll get a bunch of points and you'll be able to refresh your supplies as you go through the raid. Which means it's a pretty punishing raid supplies wise. But the chests make it pretty manageable.
Yeah.
Like you're able to fully supply before Verzik, basically.
Yeah.
So you can go and fully stock, as long as things haven't gone really badly in the raid.
Yeah.
Which they do sometimes, but yeah, so I'm curious to see. Maybe there'll be. I wonder if there's going to be like special items. You know how in like Verzik, there's the staff you have to grab. I wonder if maybe there'll be something like, oh, imagine you need like a key to get through a door or something like that. And maybe the helpful spirit will make the rooms a lot harder if you're not given the special weapons or extra things.
They'll probably add something like that. I don't know.
The teaser video that came out today has showed quite a few more mechanics as well.
Yeah, and it kind of gives you an idea. Like if you want to talk about some of the rooms we saw.
Yeah, let's do it. Do you want to start with the first one, the dung beetle?
Yeah, you want to start it off?
Sure. Yeah. So they mentioned the first room is like the dung beetle. So basically just a beetle sitting on a pile of dung. But before you even get to the room, like the encounter, you need to go through what looks like a sepulcher style agility floor. So there's stuff going on the floors. There's like little portals. So clearly you're going to have to do some kind of like precise movement before you even get to the room. And who knows, there might be, things damaging you in there if you mess up. Yeah. Almost certainly. So I thought that was really cool. So try out some Howled Sepulcher, which by the way, I did try out after you suggested it.
Pretty good, right?
Super fun.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that they're kind of they're implementing it in this in like a kind of a refreshing way. Like from what what I saw, it seemed like there was little like things that trailed behind you when you're running through, and there's like the classic wall like spikes that pop out at you and all that. Yeah,
it seems really dynamic. Like Chambers of Xeric has the puzzle rooms, but they kind of suck.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite one is Tightrope, just because it's not even a puzzle. You just attack them.
Yeah.
But like Crab's not particularly exciting, is very linear. So this looks really interesting and like it's going to be dynamic because the floors are going to change and stuff. So definitely into this. And then the dung beetle, they didn't really show us too much, but I imagine this is where the Karis partisan will be very good in this first room. Especially when you start to upgrade it with the jewels.
Yeah.
Do you recall what happened in the second video or the second room?
Is that the room with like there was one room that I was seeing was like it looked like little monkeys or something. You talking about that?
Yeah, I think that might be the one.
Yeah, there was one room that gave off heavy like Nilo vibes from Theater of Blood, where it looks like there's different undead zombie or like zombie like monkeys, I guess. And some people, it looks like you got a melee some, mage some, and probably range some as well. Looks like there's like some of them will drop like poison or something on the ground that you got to stay out of.
Yep, there's like an acid trail going on.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's just going to be like another gauntlet room where you just got to sit there and kind of like, it's like an endurance type thing.
Mhm.
I don't know if they'll add any
Yeah.
extra. It seems like they added some new mechanics, but not too many to that. But who knows, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. It's kind of like Nilo's, right? Yeah, with a few more mechanics and a lot more space as well.
Yeah.
And it looks like there are vents on the floor too, so there might be like stuff coming out of that. But yeah, people have blow pipes. People have the partisan, the fang. Like you'll be using the new weapons in this. Looks like someone is barraging, so you'll definitely be using a little bit of this, a little bit of that in this room.
Mm-hmm.
And then the boss, it looks like, is on a giant slant, so you have to run up this huge hill to get to it. So I assume that's after you complete the wave type thing.
Yeah, you think
it's hard to say from the pictures.
You think it'll be like MXZ or something, where like rocks start rolling down the ramp, you got to avoid it?
Can you imagine? Yeah, that would be pretty fun actually.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's already the one puzzle, right? Like the waves that we'll get to later with the big croc, Zebek.
Yep.
But yeah, then the next room is the one with the walls that look to be moving around all the time.
Yeah,
so it seems to be like a puzzle room,
and it looks like you can mine the walls down, or some of them, and there's like these little mirrors kind of everywhere. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to adjust the mirrors and have like maybe like the bouncing the lights around like you do in like a bunch of those elf quests and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope not, because I always hate those mechanics, but who knows? Yeah, maybe you gotta like bring down certain walls and get certain reflections going to like hit the dudes.
Yeah, but it certainly looks interesting. This video definitely, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. It's just a developer diary on the Tombs of Amascut. Came out on their YouTube like this morning. So then you get to the big guy. I don't really know what he's called. Just the big Roman looking guy.
Is that Akka? Or am I getting that mixed up?
It may be.
Yeah.
I think it might be. And he's on like a sundial that's spinning around and has 4 different sides. And you just see some like crazy shit going on in the room. It looks insane.
Yeah. I don't know that room specifically. Have you ever played Dark Souls 2?
Dark Souls 2? No.
Yeah.
No, I haven't played. I only played the original.
Okay, there's like this Dragon Knight dude that you got to fight in Dark Souls 2, and he's on this like little circle thing. I don't know. I played the game a crap ton, but there was a way to do it so you could like pretty much just like parry him and knock him off like the platform instantly. But this room, like, I don't know, this boss really reminds me of him for some reason. I don't know if it's just because it's so like circular and all that, but
yeah, it looks like a very fun one. And then yeah, there's the big crocodile as well, which they've teased.
Yeah, it seems like with the crocodile, there's gonna be like a lot of like the heavy movement type stuff. They kind of like hinted at that it's gonna be like you have to be dodging like a lot of stuff in comparison to the other bosses.
Yeah, it looks nuts.
Yeah,
there's stuff flying all over the room in that one. It's gonna be so much fun, man. And then the final boss, they didn't release anything.
Yeah,
nothing. So we know nothing. They say it's going to be just insane, which I totally believe. I think they didn't even release the room art for it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, like they have like little clips near the end of the video where they just like kind of have these like quick little 1-second snapshots of the room. Like the dung beetle, there's like you'll see one guy in like a corner with like a bunch of those yellow circles that you got to stand on for Theater of Blood at Verzik.
Yeah,
it's got like that. They reuse that asset, I guess, to circle them around with other beetles running around, and then like the room is like divided into 2. And there's like fire shooting off. There's like the monkey boss. It looks like there's like big, actually like the whole MXZ joke. It looks like that's actually a thing where there's like big balls of like poo or stone or something rolling down the ramp that are, you gotta like attack.
Yeah.
They actually have like a health bar, so you have to like destroy them and open up a path.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so I obviously have taken like 3-4 years off, and like Dills would like come up to me and be like, hey, and he'd give me like random little updates on random stuff. There's a point to this tangent, don't worry. And he'll like come up to me and he'll say like, oh, they brought this mod team, this mod onto the team, and he's a really big fan of Path of Exile. Like, Derek, I know you like Path of Exile, and he's probably gonna add like a bunch of mechanics from that game and try and make it fit into this game. And he'd always like he would say stuff like that, like, try to titillate me to get me to come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with the like little 5-second clip of I'm gonna call him Akka, but like the big guardian sword shield guy on the sundial.
Yeah.
From the little bit you see like a lot of stuff happening in certain sections of the sundial, and it actually really reminds me of like a certain boss fight in Path of Exile called Maven. If you guys ever play it, there's like you're essentially fighting her on a very like a sundial-esque thing, like a very circular type thing. And at certain parts, like you have to avoid or run to certain areas and blah 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 blah. But I'm calling it right now, big prediction. If there is like some sort of memory game related to this room, like you have to run to certain quadrants of the circle and certain patterns and like memorize it, kind of like Simon Says, or is it Simon Says? I don't know. The red light, where the things light up and you gotta hit them? I'm calling it. It's gonna be in that room if that's a thing.
Okay, it does look like he makes a shadow of himself in one of the pictures.
Yeah.
So you might have to like go to certain sections or attack with certain styles.
Yeah, and like maybe the light or like darkness will go to certain areas and you got to avoid, like move around while certain things are happening.
Okay, so that was a boss in Path to Exile or a room or something?
Well, kind of. It just seems like I feel like there's going to be some influence to this boss. I just have that feeling. I'm just saying with this guy. That's all I'm saying.
So you used to play Path to Exile. Is that where the invocations come from?
No. Invocations, that's in like a lot of roguelike games, actually. Where you like, you beat the game and then you can make the games harder and harder. Like, have you heard of Hades? It's like a roguelike game. It's pretty popular.
I don't think so.
It's a really good game. If you like those types of games, check them out. But once you beat it the first time, you go back and you can raise the difficulty to get more rewards and unlock new things.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. I'm pretty excited to see how these like boss fights turn out.
Yeah, they look exciting. I really like that they have hidden the last boss too.
Yeah,
it's gonna make it super exciting.
Yeah. Makes me wonder though if any of the playtesters are gonna leak some of the strats like happened. Like I remember at Theater of Blood, there was someone that got in trouble and they got banned for a couple weeks or something because they were like they joined a team on day one and they weren't allowed to like join other teams or something. Certain playtesters.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I don't have any receipts right now, so I don't want to like name any names. But there's a couple names I remember like them getting in trouble because they like leaked some of the rooms to like their clanmates and buddies. And they ended up getting banned for a couple weeks for it.
Interesting. I've always wondered about the playtesters because a lot of them are streamers or YouTubers.
Yep.
Like Adicon, for example, is a high level streamer.
Yeah.
So I like, what is he allowed? Because he obviously knows more on day one. Is he allowed to stream? Like, surely it's one of his biggest. It'll be his biggest revenue.
Yeah, I think what happened last time is that they were allowed to stream, but they weren't allowed to give any input on the fights or something like that, or they had to like stream with certain people. Because I remember like Bodhi and some other people also like play tested. And I remember day one like watching streams and like also trying to do Theater of Blood with my group at the same time. And they would like clear a room and then Bodhi or other people would be like, oh yeah, I really wanted to mention this. It was just so, but I can't obviously. So I think like most likely they'll be allowed to play. But yeah, they're going to have to either stick to like a certain group or they're like not allowed to like mention anything. They have to act like they know nothing.
Interesting.
Like
that would be very difficult.
Yeah, like let someone else lead like what you're going to be equipping and stuff. I'm not too sure
right.
though, but
or like gear setups,
yeah.
like when you're going into the raid. Yeah, totally.
Some of the people might just like, oh, you know what? I won't play for the first week or until it gets cleared the first time, right? Where
no way, man. Like the itch would be crazy to play.
Yeah, but see, maybe it's just me, but I would take that trade, wouldn't you? Like to be able to play test and give your input on like raids 3 is like, oh, but you just have to wait for someone to clear it first before you can play. Which
yeah, I would do that, but it's going to be easy to clear.
Exactly. Yeah.
No invocation, infinite tries at the room. Yeah, it might take you forever. But
it'll be like 5 hours max. I think it's not going to be like Theater of Blood or Inferno, where that took a long time.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. So yeah, that's pretty. I don't think we're gonna get too much more. Maybe a couple more teasers before, maybe a leak or two, but that's about it.
Yeah, because as of right now, we have what, 8 days?
8 days. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna be there day one. So it unfortunately, because I'm on the west coast of Canada,
Yep.
comes out at like noon, and who knows if it's gonna be delayed, but it'll come out like roughly at noon GMT. So that's like 4 a.m. for me. So it looks like I'm going to bed nice and early the night before.
Yeah, I remember getting up like around 6 in the morning to do ToB, and my team hadn't gone to bed that night. They're gonna pull an all-nighter, and then they realized how hard it was, and they're like, "We're just gonna go to bed." I was like, "Man."
Yeah, theater was really difficult. Hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
because there's just no way you're going to get a completion as like an average player, but that's not going to be the case for this
No.
for this new raid,
Well,
which I think will draw more and more people towards it, and I like that.
yeah, and I think the big thing is it took like a while for the actual mechanics of theater to come out, right? Like, don't you remember like the first Zarpus kill? Wooks was like tick eating every time.
Yeah, he didn't know that you could move. Same with like yellows and stuff. He was like tick eating them.
Yeah, and like he found the weird safe spot with the T-bow, and they had to hot fix it mid fight. Oh man, there were so many great moments.
Yeah, Wooks is on Bodhi's team again. Wooks, Addy, Bodhi, like Pug, and there's a bunch of like high level players that are all on one team because you can go up to 8 people in the raid.
Yeah,
so that's going to be super cool.
Yeah, that'll be good. So I don't know about you. Actually, I might actually know about you, but do you have like a team going? Because I was talking with Magpie, shout out to Magpies, about like a day one team. I was gonna roll with him.
Yeah. So one of the things about being an Iron Man is that when new items like this come out, they're going to be extremely expensive.
Yep.
So even if it's a tiny chance that you do pull an item, you'd want to sell it right away to make the most amount of money.
Yep.
And because irons, like I have a lot of money on my alt, but I still don't even think it's enough to split a staff day one. It definitely won't be.
No, I mean,
so
day one scythe went for like 5 bill, didn't it?
Yeah, like so there's just no way I can split. So I kind of have to be free for all. And then mains are usually like, well, you know, even on the off chance that we do pull a big item, like I don't want it to be in your name and then feel bad. So I'm like totally fine with that. So at least until prices settle, I'll only be rating free for all, which means either the mains with me have to be okay with that, or
no mains.
I go with other, or I go with other irons. Yeah. So me and Raichu, who are both pretty geared, are going to be sending, and then any like geared irons who want to come with us are more than welcome to. So you can hit me up. And then like there's a few mains who say, yeah, I don't mind free for alling. I just want to have fun with my friends.
Yeah.
And I think that's for the first day. Like I don't really care about items or whatever. Like obviously I want to get a spooned item, but I really just want to enjoy the raid with my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what's more important to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't mind at all. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're gonna be sending with Magpies?
Yeah. We were talking about getting a little team to go and I'm like, yeah, it'd be fun.
Cool. Well,
yeah.
If you want a free for all, you're welcome to come with me and Raichu.
Yeah, for sure. No, that'd be pretty dope. As of right now, it looks like I'll be able to send it day one. Minus a little bit because my girlfriend's going. She's like not from Canada, so she's going to her home country for a little bit to see family. So I'm gonna be taking care of their cat. So probably have to dip out at some point and make sure the cat's still kicking. But
skip one raid.
Yeah, skip a raid. Just fly there and back. Maybe just bring the cat here, so I don't have to worry.
That might be the move. I don't know if the cat will like that.
No, the cat is fucking evil, but it's not a nice cat. But anyways,
that's not good. Yeah, so day one's gonna be a lot of fun. And there'll be all sorts of people in the clan just wanting to like run through it, and but I mean, some people wonder, do I have the gear for it? Likely on entry mode, you're probably gonna be able to do it with like Arams, blowpipe, and just like basic entry level gear.
Yeah.
Whip or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be too hard.
Thankfully, semi-related, but I was really stressing about what am I selling and moving items around for raids 3 prep. Mm-hmm. And then getting 150 mil through bingo was pretty nice. And then I was able to pull. Yep. I started doing Nex finally, right? So I'm like, I'll just
nice.
I'll just spam Nex. So in my first 8-man session, I got like 50 kills or something, and we saw like an 8-man split on Zerite or the Zardi, whatever they're called.
Fan braces.
Yeah, or maybe it was a 7-man, but I got 20 mil from that, and then in the morning, I had time to run like the typical. Oh, I got 30, 40 minutes. I'll go run a raid, right?
Yeah.
And I went and ran a solo because I'm like, man, I'm like hitting 3 mil points, no item scene. I'm gonna snag like a solo unique. Boom, get a Dragon Hunter crossbow. And I'm like, all right, let me buy this, let me buy this. Like, I'm just like pulling all this money. It's like, okay. I'll be like,
that's awesome.
I'm not in like max yet. I still got quite a ways to go just from being gone for so long, but I have all the bases like finally covered for Raids 3, so it'll be pretty nice.
Nice. Yeah, that's really good to make a little bit. A lot of people have been just money making this week to get ready.
Yeah.
And Irons have been out there making potions. That's what I've been doing. Making sure I'm all stocked up and ready to go, so I don't have to go do any, account management while I'm raiding.
Waking up 7 times a night to do herb runs, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I only do herb runs at work now.
Oh, nice.
That's my one thing. Like at recess and then at lunch, I'll send a herb run. I go through my seeds quite quickly, actually.
You said you teach like little kids, right? You got to teach them math via like, okay, which herb is the most profitable, kids, and stuff. All right,
kids, which yield is the most profitable here? Toadflax or Snapdragons?
So every herb has a 1 in 8 chance. You like start going into like all that stuff.
I mean, you don't get into probability until like grade 6 or 7.
Yeah, I know, but
maybe a little bit in grade 5. It's too bad. I really love probability stuff.
Yeah.
But sadly, you don't get to do much of that with the little kids. It's pretty boring math, honestly.
Oh yeah, no, it's
addition, subtraction, multiplication.
Yeah,
division, that's pretty much it.
Super basic stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. This year I had to teach addition and subtraction only within 20. So God. 13 plus 5 is so boring.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Did you have to? Because like I'm going to school for like an education related thing, right?
Okay.
I was looking at my classes, and I have a class on like how to teach math up until grade 10s. Now, did you have anything similar to that? Because I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that being like, it's not like this is how do you do grade 10 math. It's like, this is how you're actually teaching it within like the curriculum. Like, do you have something like that?
Yeah, I did have to take a few of those. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I thought that was super interesting. I was like, oh man, I'm actually excited to, because I mean, I love teaching stuff. Like I volunteer teaching English and stuff. I've always enjoyed it. So it's like, be cool to actually have a class on how to improve on that skill.
My math course that I ended up taking because I did a degree and then I did like a post degree for my teaching certificate.
Yep.
So when I did that, the post degree one, my math was focused on elementary school children. So it was more about like, how do you teach kids math when they know very few concepts?
Yep.
But my like prereq stuff before I went was like more higher end things. So like knowing the concepts pretty deep, in depth.
Yeah. Because knowing, you got to know the concepts like really well, but then also being able to like explain it in a proper way. Like if I'm doing like I'm teaching English to like people that they're like newcomers to the country, right? So they have very, very little like English skills. Like they don't speak it like at all pretty much. So when you're like explaining stuff, you have to do it in English because I can't speak like 8 different languages, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have to like, okay, let me like try and put this in a way that makes sense while using like really like basic English. And then like, if there's like a French person, like one of the guys is like French, so I'll be able to like, oh, I know this word in French. I can kind of cheat a little bit, but knowing how to explain things, just being very limited, right?
Yeah, it can be challenging, but you end up like lower level math concepts focus a lot on like manipulative. So like actually having things in your hand to move around.
Yeah.
Like when you're learning concepts for the first time, like when you're learning statistics for the first time, like a classic one would be like, we give each kid a bag and, there are 10 marbles in there. 1 is red and 9 of them are blue. What are the chances? What's the probability that you pull a red one?
Yeah.
Exact. That kind of stuff. So you actually like physically do it to like, in a sense, prove the formulas to yourself.
Yeah.
And the same thing with like little kids, like, oh, 3 plus 3 is 6, but how do I know that? Because, I grab these 3 blocks and I count them up. I put them together and I count them up. Oh, it is 6. So yeah, that's why I kind of find it boring at the lower levels, but has to be done, you know?
Yeah, you got to teach them noobs, right?
You gotta teach the noobs,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, I don't know how we got on that topic, but
it happens.
Overall, when it comes to, I'm gonna call it ToA or Tombs because I don't really like calling it Tombs of Amascut. Feels weird in my tongue, but how do you what are you expecting to get out of this? Let's say what's ideally you sit down, I'm gonna run 3 raids tonight besides getting purples or whatever every single pull. What kind of experience are you looking for?
I'm looking to have fun with my friends, hopefully figure out some of the mechanics on our own, and just come up with some strategies. That's what I'm really looking for. And obviously, seeing some cool loot would be a bonus on top of that. Yeah. But I think just the whole experience as is, even without getting unique rewards, is going to be great.
Okay. And when it comes to let's say 3-4 months from now, right? When not that it's going to be boring in 3-4 months, but when it's not new, I guess. Once you've learned it and all that, maybe a better way to phrase it is how you do chambers and it's pretty chill, right? And you can kind of dick around, joke with your friends, blah 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 blah. But then when you're doing Theater of Blood, you can joke around, but if you dick around too hard, you're gonna lose 20 minutes of progress, and you're gonna be oh, I'm paying 100K here, and now I feel bad. Where do you want the line of tombs to be in terms of
I want it in between the two.
Yeah.
Tob, I think it's too punished. It's a great raid, don't get me wrong, but it's very punishing. It's hard to get into.
Yeah.
It can be very challenging for learners to find teams because as a main, you're not unless you really want to just teach people, you're not really incentivized to bring learners.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's so punishing. If they just die in every room, then you're just kind of carrying them through.
Yep.
And they don't even get an opportunity to try the mechanics. Where Cox is too far the other way. They can just loop and die and die and die and die.
Yep.
But at least if they make a mistake, they're allowed to come back in and try the mechanic again, rather than just waiting for the next raid to try it again. And by then, maybe the people have lost patience and don't want to take you. So I think it can be really tough for learners at top.
Yeah.
And I think Jagex have mentioned that the number of people that do it is far less than Chambers. And even though those people really love the raid, and me included, I do recognize that it's difficult. And I think it's good to have difficult content in the game, but something like Raids 3, I think, should be really accessible, which is why I think invocations are basically perfect.
Yeah.
Because they scale the raid to whatever your ability is, and it's going to make it a completely different experience.
Yeah.
And then obviously change the loot potential. What about you? What are you hoping to get out of the first few days?
First few days, honestly, just I love the experience of day one stuff. I'm a huge advocate of just get sweaty and just play the crap out of new content and in any game, not just RuneScape. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm not going to get an item day one. That's ridiculous to expect. But yeah, just kind of figure out the raid, have some fun and be look back on it like I do with Theater of Blood. We're day one. I remember me and my buddy, we camped out where we thought the raid would be, and then servers go down, log out, and then we get up, wake up in the morning, quickly jump on and notice that, because of Theater of Blood, they moved some of the walls around in that area, and now we're in an area you can't actually get to. We're out of the map. All right, let's dick around for a bit. Okay, let's go grab the rest of the boys, have a stream on one screen and, try and figure stuff out on our own on the, while we're playing. I really like the theory crafting and stuff behind a lot of, day one content and all MMOs. It's really fun doing that. So yeah, pretty much just learn the raid.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more fun than I even had a blast day one next, just watching streams and seeing what's going on the side. And this is going to be the same thing, but cranked up it many times.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll be pretty good. The one thing I'm really curious to see how it develops is so I have, I guess now it's 3. My some of my buddies I'm slowly indoctrinating them into RuneScape, and they're all slowly coming to play one by one and coming back to the game. But they're all pretty low / mid-level accounts, and they're getting ready to do Chambers of Xerix. And I'm excited to sit down with them and teach them it. and even like stuff like Zalra and all that. Like it's gonna be really fun to like teach them all that stuff. But I feel bad, but I know that like by the time they learn Chambers to like when I know that we could all sit down and do Theater of Blood together, it's gonna be a long time because like I have what like 50 kill count in ToA. I got 37, not even close. Like I really don't have that many kills under my belt, and there's no way I could bring them on like a normal run with me. Like we're not gonna get anywhere, right? Like we'll be stuck in one room like for hours, and no one's gonna have fun with that. But like seeing how they're gonna do with ToA, it seems like, oh, we could sit down, we gotta learn like Chambers together, and if they start getting bored of it, we can like sit down, learn ToA, and then like as it gets boring, make it harder and harder and harder until we're like all like, man, okay, we're a good enough trio or 4-man group that we could probably just start doing Theater of Blood now. We can go learn that together, right?
Yeah, totally.
So like it seems like with the invocations, and I'm hoping that like there's gonna be like a really nice cliff you can climb, or like of like this like difficulty. Now hopefully it's a smooth progression. Hopefully it's not like it's really easy and then you turn one invocation on and now it's really hard. Like I hope they make it like a smooth transition.
It seems like it is, right? Because you can pick and choose how you increment the levels. So if there are like, let's say there are 34 invocations, you can maybe start with none, and then next time you're like, I don't have a Slayer task, so turn that one on, and then we
did it in like
we don't need 10 we don't need 10 wipes worth. Like we understand a little bit.
Yeah, like we did it in 38 minutes. Think we could push 35? Yeah, let's try it. We have a better understanding now. Like that'll be super fun. What do you think? Okay, what do you think about like the artwork and the aesthetic of Tombs? Because it's different for sure. How do you feel about it?
I think it's great. Yeah, it's desert themed. Yeah, that's what I wanted.
I found, love it, especially with the dung beetle, the artwork and the work they've put into it. Like years ago, one of my big little soapbox complaints was that like they were trying to add art that like really didn't fit like RS, like old school RS like at all, right? I'd always complain about that, but it seems like it's really nice. There's a lot of detail, but it doesn't feel like it's out of the game, right? Like the art team did a really good job making it seem to like fit the game and fit the aesthetic of like the desert. And it's also like
you're talking about like Konar and like Song of the Elves and stuff.
Yeah, just random stuff. Yeah, there's like, but even like before that, when they were doing like concept arts and stuff, I'd always like back on the older days of the podcast, I'd always complain that like some of the like the stuff that they're adding doesn't really look like it fits it too well, and they're kind of like going in the wrong direction with some of their art. Like I felt RS3 sometimes.
Yeah, they've turned it around, though.
Yeah, no, like that's what I'm saying. Like they've done a really good job.
I agree with you. Yeah, I remember Mod G used to be like a little bit different with her art style too.
Yeah,
and she was there for a while, but now they've obviously got someone who's really in tune with what's going on.
Yeah, I do like we got Chambers. I love the art. Like I love the aesthetic to Chambers. I think it's super cool. Theater of Blood's amazing too. The whole vampire theme, and now it's got like sand and all. Now we got like the desert. It's I don't know. It's just super cool how thematic they can make every raid.
Yeah, just visually, it's very stunning.
Yeah,
I can't wait to. I always love the desert, and I just think it's such a cool part of RuneScape.
Okay, what if you're gonna have to bring like water skins into the raid though?
Yeah, bring the circlet of water becomes best in slot. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst mechanic. Like if you start staying in a room too long and you start to get thirsty.
Yeah, like an enrage timer or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
So if you're slow, it's painful. Who knows? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Circle of water actually best in slots.
Yeah, for real.
It's so funny. The dead content for almost all players except, I guess, Iron Men mining sand. Hilarious.
True. Okay, I was trying to think like where would you even like
Yeah, because I used to bring water skins and lunars, and I just fill them up. I have like 3 skins.
Yeah,
just fill them up every 15 minutes.
Yeah, well, you just dump like water runes in it, right? Like you get the crown from. Is it Beneath Curse Sands?
Yeah,
which I think Beneath Curse Sands is the prereq for Tombs, right?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
So
boom.
Maybe it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Actually, ran into Mod Aiza the other day at the top bank, and we jokingly asked him what's going to be good at Raids 3, and he said Circle. So there you go.
Nice. Okay, let me quickly go buy some.
Yeah, I go buy a few circles.
Yeah.
Spread the word. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how good range is going to be. I think it's probably going to be the weakest of the three skills in the raid. I'd imagine. In the playtesters, looks like they were maging a lot, meleeing a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot of ranging. Even though you do get Masori from the raid, so surely it's going to be worth something.
Yeah, I do hope that it's not going to be. I mean, I guess never. I was going to say a lot of the content's really ranged heavy in the game, but it's actually not the case really. I take that back.
I think I would say it's pretty range heavy
in terms of raids
overall.
Though?
No, not in terms of raids.
But yeah, for Slayer bosses and stuff.
Just the whole game is pretty range heavy. Yeah.
As long as I can bring my T-bow and scythe, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, everything's gonna be easy now.
There's pretty much no bosses that are just mage only. There's a couple where you hybrid, right?
Yeah.
But outside of raids, besides the Dagonoth Rex, I'm trying to think of others that you would mage Scorpia. They're pretty limited.
Mm-hmm. Okay, raids 4. We're going 3 years into the future, 4 years into the future. Where do you think it would be?
That's a good question. What doesn't? Let me just crack open the map here.
Look for the black squares. You can't go wrong with that.
Wilderness?
Yeah, hell yeah. Wilderness raid?
Or an ice theme raid.
Yeah, okay.
But we got God Wars Dungeon for ice. Even it just being Fremennik would be cool.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking a Fremennik thing or Keldagrim, some sort of dwarf slash
dwarf
cave goblin type thing.
Yeah, those would be good.
You could finally achieve the Mind Goblin.
Yeah, the Mind Goblin. Yeah, I think Fremennik would be super cool. Or a desert theme, a really desolate looking raid would also be cool. But Fremennik, I think there's a lot of this new raid is pulling from actual ancient history, Egyptian history.
You mean pulling real lore into the game?
Yeah, or it's based on lore, or the names are based on ancient names of gods, etc. So there is a lot to pull from lore wise, and therefore art wise.
Yep.
And I think Wilderness would kind of be a little boring, but Fremennik there would also be quite a lot to pull from, Vikings.
Yeah.
Scandinavian history, etc. There's a lot of it going around, so therefore I think there would be a lot to pull from lore wise and art wise. So that could be good. Whereas I think Raids 1 is just a standard D&D style, raid.
Yeah, I know the cool thing with Raids 1 is, and I guess Jagex in general, they'll always put really weird little obscure references to things. So in terms of lore, so how the Great Olm is considered a dragon and all that?
Yeah.
Well, in real life, they used to believe that Olms were baby dragons. That was the history of them.
Yeah, they're very small, aren't they?
Yeah, they're tiny little things that they live in caves or mountains or something. But they were to believe people believed way back in the day that that's where dragons came from, that they're baby dragons.
Yeah.
And someone told me this, but supposedly Olms are blind, and that's why Olm will only move his head when you're hitting the hands, and not only, but when you're hitting the hands and stuff. If you're standing in one spot shooting one hand, he'll look this way, and you can kind of make him look it does. How he isn't really consistently following you.
Yeah, interesting. Or he looks in different directions.
Yeah. It's supposedly it's because they're blind.
I can believe they're blind because they live in caves.
Yeah, makes sense, right?
But yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, I don't know if that's maybe a stretch, but
it could be.
It could be, or maybe they designed it that way, giving them not enough credit. Yeah, and then with Raids 2 is very vampire, a little bit edgy.
Yeah. I mean, with
Um,
Verzik, she's like really fat because she can't see herself in the mirror, right? And she just keeps eating. And
Honestly, I don't know. I've never read the lore. You'd have to ask Big Dills about that.
yeah, I think he told me that.
He's the man when it comes to the lore. Yeah, he used to do those huge sections on the podcast when you two did it together, where he'd just go off for like 20 minutes about lore.
Yeah, I was never around for the lore segments just because like there's nothing I can give my input on, or I wanted to give my input on.
There, right?
So I would usually just dip out and go do something else.
Yeah. Yeah, lore has never really been my thing, but a lot of people do like it, so I understand why he puts it in the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully he has the soundboard back when he puts this one together, so we can get the tunes going on. Because they were missed last time. Did you listen to the beginning?
No, I did not actually.
It came up from my feed, so.
How was it?
There was no intro music because he didn't have his soundboard and access to the internet, so he just did like a thing by himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good improvisation by Dills.
Pretty good. Gotta love it.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts with like the raid stuff?
I don't think so. I can't wait to get in there and come back maybe next week and talk about it after we've sunk our teeth into the content.
Yeah. It seems like I mean with the like the way Jagex has been going with like whenever they build up on like old ideas, I guess when they build like new ideas out of old concepts, I should say, they've been doing a really good job. It's progressively getting better and better. So I feel like ToA is going to just be amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Huge expectations, and I'm sure they're going to deliver.
Yeah.
And hopefully it goes off without it. I'm just worried about it maybe not going off without a hitch when it comes to the day of,
Yeah, like the weird like technical flubs.
Yeah, hopefully there's no like weird bugs or flubs.
Like 100% drop rate on like a bunch of items, and you go in and you're like
100% drop rate on staff, please, for my first completion. That would be ideal.
175 raid points guarantees you a drop. Oopsie.
Yeah, exactly. Or hopefully that it just comes into the game cleanly and everyone can start playing right away.
Yeah,
and there's no like pent up frustration.
I feel like the only thing that could really be crazy is like if they have invocations that increase difficulties of certain mechanics. Like we talked about like the wave. Like maybe the wave could, you turn an invocation on where like now 3 waves come out instead of 1 or something, right? Hopefully, like, if there's anything, I could see like something like that being really weird where they could actually just make impossible raids happen. But
yeah, it's either that or genuinely like they say it's going to come out at noon and it takes like 8 more hours till the raid comes out.
Yeah, that'd be the biggest tease.
I think that would be hard. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, man. So we'll have to get into it, and then next week we can come back and have a chat again. We might have Magpies make an appearance as well.
Yeah,
and then of course Dills. So
get the whole gang together.
I get all 4 of us. Have you ever done a 4-man podcast before?
I have not.
They can be chaotic.
That's the thing me and Dills had talked about, because we've mentioned it before, but originally the podcast was going to be like me and him and then like a third person.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up just like not wanting to do it, but we were kind of like, oh man, if we like bring guests on, it might like, is 3 people too much? And I hated like listening to a podcast where there's like 9 people. And
it's stupid because you don't know their voices, right?
Yeah, it's always 1 or 2 people dominating the conversation, and then like someone interrupting or just someone cackling in the background, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, it's more of like a round table thing. 3 can work really well. 4 can as well, but it's more like a panel style. So we used to do like there'd be one person hosting, and then like the other 3 would be answering questions that were directed at them.
Yeah.
And then with other people just chiming in. But with 2 people, it's more like a conversation. And those have always been my favorite styles of podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm super excited to take some notes on like my first impressions and all that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll have to circle back next week if we can carve out some time.
Yeah.
And then actually get it done. That'd be great. All right, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you again. And
for sure.
Hopefully everyone enjoys the Raids 3 release, and we will see you on the other side.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good one and good luck.